We're going to do one more day of Fusion. I don't think it's going to take the whole class, so I think we should have some time for me to walk around and talk to you about your projects and, see how things are going. So one more class on Fusion. And we're just going to do a simple assembly today. So up until now, all the stuff we've been doing has been on a single part. But with assemblies, you can take multiple parts and connect them with joints. And probably the main usefulness of that is that you can check before you start printing stuff out, and it's, time consuming and expensive. You can make sure your parts fit. You can see what it's all going to look like when you put them all together. And so we're just going to do this simple thing that I don't have any dimensions on it, but we'll think about the dimensions as we go. But it's just a little fold over cover for like a sheet of paper or something. Like if you're taking notes and you have a few pieces of paper that you want to bring into a meeting or a class or whatever, it's just a folding cover that you could put over, It was created by the greatest design minds of the 21st century. Not really. It was created by me in a short time. But okay, so everybody get into Fusion, and we'll start going on this. And so I said this was for sheets of paper, so we're going to make it about 11 inches high, about 8.5 inches wide, for just like standard printer paper. And you can maybe see up here, one side of the cover has little holes that a pin from the second piece of the cover goes into, and that's how it articulates. One other thing about it, you can see that this line that's here, that's a line of symmetry of this thing. And so for all of this stuff, I just made one half of it, and then we're just going to mirror the other half. Okay, so Fusion. This website load is available on video after class if you want to watch it again. If you want to slow it down to, if you feel like you missed any of the details. Okay, here we are. So think about what folder you want to put this in. So I'm going to open up this folder tree. I guess I'll go into, I'm just going to go into basic shapes. That's just sort of my usual thing. And we have a new design. I'm going to give this design a name before I start. So I'm going to call it paper cover. Maybe I'll put a date on it. And now that I have the folder here, I can close that folder tree so I have the whole thing available. And I'm going to start with, one of these two folding sheets has the, I guess the two pieces with the holes in them, and the other side has the two pieces with the prongs that go into those holes. I'm going to start with the ones that have the holes. And so I'm going to just make a sheet that's, basically, I think I'm going to make this sheet a little bigger than 11 by 8.5 so that I have room for these overhanging joints, hinge things. And then the other one is just going to be 8.5 by 11 with the prongs coming out to the side. So I'm going to start with a sketch. And I'm just going to make this rectangular shape. Doesn't really matter where you make it. And I'm going to define the dimensions. So let's see. I think I'm going to want those two hinge bodies to be, let's make them, let's see. Let's make them a 1/4 inch on each side. So I'm going to make the width of this 9 inches. So I have an extra 1/2 inch. So this is going to be 9. And then I'm going to make this 11. And that's it there. And now I'm going to extrude it. We don't have to extrude it very far. I think I'll do 1/10 of an inch. Okay, so there's our extruded shape. By the way, 3D printing is expensive, an expensive way to make plastic things. Um, One thing you could do if you were really going to make this object is you could make the hinges connect to like a perimeter of this, and then you could use the laser cutter to fit something in to take up most of the space or whatever. Um, since these measurements are really precise, you could do that so it fit really well. You could even, with the laser cutter, you could do it with clear plastic and make a thing where you could see what your notes are while the thing is closed or something like that. But we're going to just 3D print it all. And now I'm going to go to the side and do a sketch on the side. So I will highlight that and do a sketch here. And I basically, I want something like that. Let's think about the dimensions a little. So let's say I make this 1/2 inch and this 1/2 inch. And that's it for the sketch. And now I want to, you know what? I said I was going to do this, use the symmetry of this. So I made this twice as wide as I needed to, that first sketch. So I'll finish this extrude, and then I'm going to go back and change the width of this shape. So I'm going to click on that new shape we made, extrude. I want it to go this way, and I said I wanted it to be 1/4 inch. So there we go. And I'm going to round it off so it doesn't catch on things in a bag or whatever. So I'm going to just reposition it like this so I can see all of those edges, and then I'm going to do fillets on all of those edges. Okay. So I'm going to highlight this, and then Control, highlight this, Control, highlight this. So I have all 3 of those edges highlighted. And I'm going to go to Modify. And the fillet radius, we can just sort of do this by, that looks pretty good. What does 0.2 look like? Let's do it like that. So the radius of these fillets is 0.2.
How far did you extrude it
down? I extruded it 0.25 inches. So what does this look like if I make it? I think it'll be a perfect circle if I make it 0.25. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Let's do that. Anybody need time to catch up here? Okay, yeah. Bless you. Anybody have any questions? So I'm going to go back to my original sketch, and the dimension that I made 9 inches, I'm going to make it half as big, make it 4.5 inches. So then we can flip, do the mirror image for the symmetry. So I'm going to go back into this, edit sketch, and I'm going to make this 4.5. Anybody need more time still, or need me to clarify anything? Yep. The what? Oh yeah. So go to the I'm going down here. Go to that first one and right click on that. And now I'm going to, so let's see, I'm going to rotate this around so I can see, like, if I'm going to mirror this to make this twice as wide and put this hinge body on the other side, the mirror plane that I'm going to want to use, I want to reflect it around this edge here. So I just repositioned it so I could see this edge. So I can highlight that when the time comes. And then I'm going to go down and highlight the 2 extrudes and the fillet. And I'm going to go to mirror. And it says, okay, I've selected 3 objects. Now it says select the mirror plane. And I want this to be my mirror plane. And so there's our shape. Then I guess the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a hole through these things. So I'm going to take this as my sketch plane, and I'm going to draw a circle, and a diameter of about 0.2, I guess, looks good. And I'm going to make that exactly 0.2 so we know what we're working with when we go to the next part. And then I'm going to highlight that and extrude. And instead of a distance, I'm going to say just extrude through everything. Any questions? Yeah.
What was the little diameter of the hole?
I made it 0.2.
You made it from a hole and then mirror?
Yep. Yeah. The sketch or the extrude? Do you maybe have the arrow facing the opposite direction?
Okay. I think maybe it was just because you had the rotating tool selected. I think that's why. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So now we're going to do the second part. And so for this, we have to create a new component. So the way you make assemblies is you combine different things they call components. And if you have things that you want to combine in an assembly in different files, you can do insert as component, I think it's called. You go to the part and you click on it and you can bring it into this design. But we're going to make this all together. So go to new component under create. And it highlights the thing we did saying that's the parent. You can think of that as just sort of like a file system, what it refers to. So this thing is what it's referred to. Click OK. And now it's opened up this new component, and the new one that I've created is active now. So that's what we're working on. And it just has the old one in here as a reference, but it's shaded it out. And so this one is just going to be like a plate with two little prongs sticking out of the sides. And those prongs are going to fit into these two holes with diameters of 0.2 inches. So probably if you want them to move, we're going to want to make it slightly smaller than 0.2 inches. Otherwise, it's a really tight fit. So maybe let's make it, 0.18 or something when we get to it. But I'm going to start with a sketch. And I am going to, instead of putting it right where I want it to be located, I'm going to offset it a little bit so we don't have any trouble highlighting things. So I'm going to put it like this. And then I'm going to make the dimensions. And the dimensions we want are, so this is going to be 4.25. Because we're going to double it. And this is going to be 11. And then once you have those defined, you can finish the sketch, and we'll extrude this. Let's make it, since those prongs are going to be a diameter of 0.18, let's make this one a thickness of 0.18. It's a little thicker than the other one, but that way that whole prong will be connected to the body instead of having overhang. I extruded at 0.18. And now I'm going to do a sketch on that side to make the prong. So I'm going to zoom in so I can highlight the side and go to sketch. This thickness is 0.18, and I'm going to make a circle that is tangent to the ends. So I just made a random circle, and now I'm going to do the dimensions just to make sure that I have it the way I want it. So I'm going to make the diameter 0.18. And I'm going to make it 0.09, half of that diameter from this side. And I'm going to do the same thing to this side. The dimension. So finish that sketch. And those hinge bodies had a thickness of 0.25, so that's how far I'm going to extrude this. So I'm going to extrude out a distance of 0.25. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just mirror this. So I'll get over here where I can see that plane, that mirror plane. Ooh. And I'm going to highlight, using control, highlight the two extrudes. Click on mirror. And then the mirror plane is this. And so now I have both of those two pieces. And now all we have to do is tell it how those two pieces fit together. Anybody a couple steps behind right now? Yeah. Last thing I'm going to do is just make the joint. So we have these two components. Go up here to assemble, and we want a joint. So we're going to say how these two things fit together. And there's two things here. There's how it's positioned and then what motion is allowed. So I'm going to first go to motion, and we don't want these to be rigid. You know, that would be if they're like locked in place. We want these to be a revolute joint so they can rotate. And then we'll go to the position, and there are two components here. So the first one, I want to make this point my reference there. And then I'm saying I want that to match up with the center of this circle on the second body. And it guessed right. They have this flip command you can use if it guesses wrong, so you can flip to other directions and stuff. And you can adjust the angle you want between these things. I went to, let's see, where's my joint? If you scroll down here, you can choose the angle. One thing about this is, like, if you made these two parts, how would you get this in place, you know? How would you get these two parts to that joint to happen? Well, there's no way to do it after you make the parts, but you could 3D print this full assembly and it'll build it right in place like that. And then when the base material gets dissolved away, those two parts will be able to move relative to each other. Okay, well, I'm going to stop there, and I can walk around and help you get stuff worked